Martin, Kimberly Martin looking like Jessica Rabbit talking trash to a guy who was a league MVP, who was a Super Bowl runner-up. How embarrassing does she look? Do I want to talk about Rudy Giuliani? Got to pay $148 million for defamation. That's a trip. Do I want to talk about Rasheed Wallace on upper underdog site talking about clown and load management, which I thought he was right. I felt the same way. Or do I want to talk about Lil Wayne saying that Google got it wrong about his $150 million net worth, saying that um, don't believe the hype. One of the few artists I've ever heard that's come out and said that, you know what, that's a lie. I'm not worth that kind of bread. You don't usually hear artists tell the truth about what their net worth is. So it's a lot to get into. Do I talk about Russell Wilson and Sean Payton yesterday on the sidelines? Well, I'm not surprised by Sean Payton's overrated, overinflated ego, and I think low-key racist ways, how he talked to Russell Wilson. Then the Broncos are 7-7. That's a great record when you consider how they got smashed by Miami when they gave up that 70 burger. An example, 100. I'm not going to talk about Bryce Stanley, who got finally fired by the Chargers, and he gave up a 70 burger to the Raiders. I was not going to talk about that. There's a lot of things that you can go in direction. Thoughts and prayers with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Fell and hurt his hip. I suppose they have surgery coming Friday. Thoughts and prayers with Kareem. And that's a man that you always want to keep in your, best of wishes. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, Kanye went on a rant. Kanye, he always got something to say, but it seems like it must be a new project or something that's coming up. So is he talking about anything that pertains to anything? I don't know. It's, to me, he's trying to sell some records. But there is truth in what he says, though. Once you get past the mayonnaise and you squeeze it out and you stir it up, you actually got a salad in there somewhere. So I don't know. But some people thinking that this Christian Keys situation is between Tyler Perry and Hollywood about a black billionaire. The whole Hollywood plantation and the booty bandit, Police Johnson is type of behavior. You know it's coming to a halt. There's a lot going on there. Jaguar Wright was right. The Me Too movement was only after Harvey Weinstein and R. Kelly. There's a whole lot of booty bandits in there. When I hear this Christian Keys talking, his doesn't sound that dissimilar to what Kevin Spacey's victims were saying. But again, they don't care about when it becomes men to men. That's when they start to kind of go, oh, but they really don't push it. Just like they don't push female predators either out there. So there's a lot of stuff going on. In between, there's a big segment of people who don't want to see Biden and Trump. So that's understandable. So there's a lot going on. And no matter what side of the coin you're on. George McGinnis passed this week. Indiana Pates, a great ABA great, who played with Dr. J. And had one of the best one-handed releases you'll ever see in basketball. Truly a very talented player, underrated. So there's a lot to digest, to unpack. Some people are celebrating the holiday season, some aren't. Those time of years when you have to digest and cipher so much. So thought I'd come on here for a while, see what's going on. If I don't get hit with a lot of action, I'll cut it short. But we'll see. We'll see who all comes through. It's been a real crazy week. The whole thing with the Harvard Law stuff about she didn't support the Jews and everything, the war and everything. I tell people heavy circulation. We'll see what's up. But anyway. Again. I've been watching the P-Roses on Vlad TV. Good interviews. Charlie, his place in the game. Very interesting stuff. What's up? How you living, man? Best to your prayers and thoughts are with you always. And I know you had that question. If you want to ask that one again that you asked me yesterday, feel free. Because I'm on the platform now that I'll answer that one in depth. So you remember the one. If you remember what you asked me yesterday, if you don't remember, I'll remember what you asked me yesterday. If you don't remember, I'll bring it back to you. But yeah, but yeah, this is so tough. Oh, you know this was gonna be tough for me. Oh God. Because the scary part is this: we haven't seen Giannis's prime yet, and now he's getting to play with Dame Lillard, but Dame Lillard is no longer in his peak in his prime per se. And who did Giannis play with that was so memorable? Yeah, Dr. Barkley caught Dr. J past the pull date, Moses past the pull date, Andrew Toney couldn't get healthy. And then when Barkley went to Phoenix, he was good as KJ. He was good. He was in the really good, but his best ball was late 80s in Philly. He got to Phoenix, he was still very good to great, but he wasn't quite that dude in Philly, but he was still bad. But it's a tough question for me. But if I had to pick, the only reason why I got to give Giannis the edge is because now Barkley had more. Because late Philly to Phoenix, he had a better squad. I'm sorry, but Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis don't scare me. Brook Lopez, sometimes he can be like an unstoppable force, and sometimes he just stops in his shadow. And they just got Dame. I'm going to give Giannis the edge for a few reasons. Barkley was, you asked me who I moved me more, I tell you Charles. But Charles came into the league as one of the best players, especially after 86, 87. No one quite saw Giannis turn into this Greek god like he was going to be this kind of player because he was a bench warmer. And he bulked up and he got better. And he still really, they had the wall, so could he really shoot without driving and going to the hole? So he's been a revelation of what hard work can do. I think Barkley was a more natural, better. But Giannis made himself into a freak. Duncan Barkley, Carmelo. I gotta say Dirk. And the childhood in me is gonna say Kevin McHale. And I'll tell you why. McHale is the most underrated. He was a six man for me, but came into a great one. Duncan is one of the top 5 greatest players ever, as far as I'm concerned. I hold Duncan is so underrated, it's not even funny. Barkley's one of those guys with a little more work ethic. Had he had Karl Malone's mindset, he'd be top 7 or 8 all time, easily, because his skills was off the chain. He was that brutal, just didn't finish and just didn't take it serious like that. Karl Malone kept working and working and working, made himself into one of the greatest players, and that's why I can appreciate Giannis so much. But it's subjective to change. I'm gonna tell you something. If Giannis wins a couple more rings and is league MVP, he gets in that magical 3 easily. Maybe magical 2, because you got to understand what he done. I mean, he's a freak. He's a freak. And the fact is that he's doing it with a low key team that's not getting a lot of limelight, and he keeps making himself better. He makes free throws and he comes up clutch. Because I'm gonna tell you the reason why Giannis gets so much love right now. You're more scared of him than you are Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid's got better natural skills, but Giannis scares you more. The only thing that will hurt Giannis aside from his weak free throw shooting is the fact that you still think at the back of your mind if Kawhi Leonard had to stay in Toronto, that's another ring or two. That's the knock. Because we don't know if we always saw the best team coming out the East. We see what Jimmy Butler's doing in Miami. Imagine if he had someone to play with. Now, KG should have been the Peyton Manning of power forwards. No one could score and put up numbers like him. Incredible stat pattern. But he just never did nothing come postseason. And he just never moved me quite the same. And he didn't have a chance against Duncan. So that's why. Dirk, who I remember when he got traded for Tractor Trailer, came out incredible, made himself into an all-time great player. that fadeaway on one foot, you got to give Dirk his due. That's a bad dude. He gets forgotten. Well, the Spurs beat the Lakers. I think Victor Wembanyama. I think they got a decent. They got a decent enough squad. They shouldn't lose more than 10 in a row. Because Victor Wembanyama alone, they should be able to be. They shouldn't be that sorry. Nobody in the NBA should be that sorry. Well, if you'd have told me 20 years ago that these two teams were going to combine to lose 41 games in a row, somebody would have slapped you into the nut house. These teams were in the finals. It was crazy. It's just that the Spurs don't play no defense. That's their problem. Pistons' problem is they don't have no offense, and they just are lackadaisical. And it's like they're tanking. And I feel for Monty Williams. The situation in Detroit is far better, far worse, because at least Victor Wembanyama, and I see something about the Spurs, they got a little something. Detroit is just dreadful. Well, basketball and football are different in one regard. If you're great in football, you don't get the kind of pass you do like you do in the NBA. Pop's defense is that he was great for so long and they won such a bunch that he'll get a pass. Plus, he can always go out and get a guy and come back. The NFL, you know what they say, one monkey don't stop the show, but could definitely wreck how it goes. Well, Tom Brady, he covered Belichick's deficiency so bad. Can't really say that at San Antonio. Yeah, the Kawhi Leonard thing is huge, but can't say that eventually the Spurs, because they got a top pick now, and he could turn out to be something, and that's going to take a couple of years. But who comes in there and replaces it? Now, in New England's case, who's going to overtake Belichick as a head coach? I don't know. I don't care. But I don't think the game passed Belichick by as much as his ego got passed by, got left. He got to swing and hold his ego, just like Pop did with Kawhi. I think it's more the ego got hit. I don't think the game necessarily passed them by, because I do believe they still coach. But they both let rings go out the door. Brady got a ring, Kawhi got a ring. That's a no-no. I'll tell you about that. Tomlin probably won't. The thing about it is that because they stuck with such garbage. We had Mitch Trubisky on the Bills, and he was even with Chicago, he just is a third wheel on a good day. So if being third tier on a good day, basically a clipboard holder, what's that say about what they got? No, they just don't have no offense, and that's what's killing them. They no one there can throw the rock. They're just challenged. So I like him, but they're just challenged. They are severely challenged. Very challenged. To the point where, I just don't think it's a bad look. Very bad look. Very bad look. Hold on. Sorry about that. Just had something go down. Yeah, I did a video about that. Big Ben hating on. Yeah, he talked a lot of trash, and he. I did a video about Big Ben or Rapey Burger. He needs to go in and sit his butt down because they carried his butt the last couple of years. He didn't do much of nothing. Favorite '90s black comedy movies? Well, Friday's one of them. Um, House Party. Um, Don't Be a Menace and Leaving You Drink in South Central. Yeah, I liked all. I mean, I liked a lot of them. They were true. The funny thing about Bubba in Forrest Gump, I used to have a buddy when I lived in Hampton, Virginia. The cat talked just like Bubba. Like, I almost thought that if the dude had seen the movie, he could get a copyright. Like, he literally talked just like Bubba. It was so crazy that he sounded just like Bubba. It was funny. You had to see the dude understand what I was saying. Yeah, I did a video about that today. It'll be coming out. I call her Jessica Rabbit. Make no mistake about it. He was a Super Bowl runner-up and a league MVP. And when he spoke out, she sure did. When he spoke out against, because I did the video today, it'll be coming out soon. He talked about Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Tagovailoa, and Jared Goff. Well, none of those guys got a league MVP. None of those guys have been to a Super Bowl. So therefore, Mr. Newton knows a thing or two. It's just that he went against the Denver Broncos defense. Von Miller back then was beasting. And so it's one of them things where the Broncos made a couple more plays on defense. Peyton Manning was past the pull date, but Cam just wasn't up for the moment. And they didn't have the weaponry to go against that Denver defense. And that's what it came down to. So, but, make no mistake about it. Cam had a great career. He's Hall of Fame bound. When you think about it. And let me be the first to tell you this. I tell Kimberly Martin, does New England have anything right now? Does New England have anything right now that's better than Cam Newton at quarterback? Because Mr. Zappa, who's a tad bit better, but mac and cheese, his butt could have been benched after game 4, okay? They suck. Yeah, Dungy helped them. They were yin and yang because Manning understood offense incredibly. Dungy helped toughen them up as far as taking some of them hits as far as like what to watch for, but they were a great marriage quarterback and coach. They kind of didn't do as much damage as they could have with the receiving core they had. Their defense was spotting spots, but Dungy helped them understand in order to be a championship team, you usually don't win chips. And when Manning bought into more rough and gruff style, that's when he had the Super Bowls. He won. So, Jim Caldwell brought it to the Colts too when they lost to the Saints in the Super Bowl. He did a commendable job too. He should be getting a head coaching job, but they won't hire Jim Caldwell. But anyway, yeah, good call about old Jenny. But I wasn't that invested in Forrest after a while. I mean, I watched it, and you got to remember, last time I watched it was probably 95, 96. You had to buy the box. He just basically got a hooked up ring. What did Gruden do with the Raiders exactly? Yes, I will give him credit for getting Mitch Gannon up to snuff. A coach you up type of coach. But a great coach? No. He made them chucky faces, but he didn't show me nothing as far as getting stuff done. And the last time with the Raiders, they weren't that good. So, I mean, I don't think Dungy was too black. I think Dungy is too like Mark Jackson. He too churchy. He too churchy for folks. That's what scared folks. They don't like him being so churchy and preachy. He's like the guy with the good book. Denny Green was a brother. Denny was a country brother, but he was a brother. But I don't get Dungy being. Dungy is an even kill kind of brother. Yeah, he'll say some stuff in there, but he's more Bible film with folks, which I don't think he wants the job anymore. He went through a lot, and let's be realistic. He should have 2 rings. He put that ring on the Colts, put the ring in Tampa Bay. You know, but you know how that go. But he's a brother, but he's more. He's low key. He's like old school brother, but he ain't gonna come out. You know, you know. But I do know what you're getting at. You can't be too black with it. But just saying. But you know when you see a coach that's a brother. And Dungy's a brother, but it's not like that. Now Mike Tomlin is a brother. And he wasn't that long with Philadelphia either with Ray Rose. He was okay. He had a fiery attitude, but the teams didn't really gel. Um, but I remember when he coached them though. I remember. Just kind of like when Mike Singletary was a coach, if you can remember. His commercials are more memorable than his head coaching job. Didn't last too long. It's tough for a guy who was clearly a great player to be a coach. Herm Edwards still has the greatest quote ever. We played to win the games. That's the greatest quote ever. That's the quote. I haven't really seen a brother coach in a while. And when I tell you a brother, I'm talking about a coach where, like Don Chaney, like Chaney was with, when he came in for the Calipari. I haven't seen a brother come like that in a minute. Dusty Baker was a brother. If I'm looking across certain coaches, I could tell you. Tyronn Lue's a brother. Okay. You don't listen for them. It all depends. Excuse me. So that's some of that. Yeah, well, Tony's a tacky turkey because he was offside, but they didn't draw the flag earlier. But I understand. You got to remember something. This cat's been spoiled. I mean, he's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's 2-1. He's been to 5 straight AFC Championship games. He's had multiple league MVPs, multiple Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, he's not going to be safe. They would call him a brat, but is he more of a brat than Brady? Peyton Manning? I mean, cats used to cry too for getting hit, getting love tax on the helmet. So really, I mean, he has been spoiled. But he's great, though. He earned his keep. Aaron Rodgers, you can't call nobody spoiled. Because Aaron Rodgers is the most brattiest quarterback I ever seen, and overrated, too. And Mahomes already got his career. Mahomes don't even have to win another Super Bowl, and he'll be better than Aaron Rodgers, easily. That's the fact. Because Mahomes been in rarefied company. But, yeah, they'll probably throw some names at him. I understand because quarterbacks expect to get the calls. I mean, he is the face of the NFL. He's a product pitchman. So I get his frustration. But that wasn't offside. But there was missed pass interference. There have been some bad calls. Only thing they'll do is come postseason time to make sure he gets a few calls. Bet your bottom dollar on that. How do I feel about it? I mean, they all cry to the refs. And the refs suck. I've said that before, and I'll say it again, they suck. We bound to get a call if you cry. So, that's how I look at it. Yeah, he's won some big games. I mean, but I'm not gonna. The only reason why he's looking like an MVP now is because they won a lot of games on the bottom end. But against Phil, get into it. If my Bills take care of that butt, and then Miami takes care of that butt, then what? And they got to play Detroit. They're gonna lose 2 or 3 the next game. So I'm not all this good and go, yeah. But is he playing like he stopped throwing all these picks? Yeah, for a time in his career since his rookie year or second year, he ain't pick happy. But don't give him a little time. You'll find a way. I'm not sold on him though. I still think they run him is gonna let him down, and I'm bound that he's gonna have a bad game or two. We'll see. But he's finally playing up to something. About time. I mean, you only play for the Dallas Cowboys, so they're gonna give you chances. You know, I'm not the biggest Dak Prescott fan, but he can throw. There's no reason why he can't look good beating up on whack teams all the time. I remember you were hard on Jordan Love, and I knew it would take time. They're just a young team. You know, you're young pups. You gotta remember, you let Aaron Rodgers go, that's gonna take a couple years before you get your jail back. But when you do, you'll be legit again. And the sad part about your division is if you could have halfway caught on, you could at least drew second place. Detroit's played out their minds this year. You know, I'm not sold on them like that whole 100% because I know Jared Goff, he's gonna do something dumb. But if you should be back running that division in a couple years. I'm not buying Detroit for long term, buy short term. But y'all gonna be running that division again. And Minnesota's too stupid and dumb, and they got the NFC version of Brandon Staley as their coach, who try to be cute, find a way to lose games. So you should be battling Detroit for that division. Even though Minnesota arguably's got the most talent, but now when you got a dumb coach, I like Jordan Love, all right. Give him a chance. You know, takes a little time, but Cat's got a chance. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. My thoughts on Josh Allen in regards to what? Um, I told you before, and I'll say it again. He just needs a coach who understands ego and knows how to push the buttons, and he'll be fine. He tools to have a dominance. He hasn't played his best ball consistently. He's a scary dude, but if he doesn't get the right coach with the right philosophy, he'll be a shoulda, woulda, coulda. Talent wise, he's Jim Kelly 2.0 and better than most quarterbacks on their best day. But it's about timing, improvising, taking a little trim off the fat, and bringing it together and making it cohesive. That's what hurts him. Skill wise, he can hang with anybody that I've seen. He's the only guy who can sling with Mahomes, who can run with Jalen Hurts, whoever else you want to put there. Well, I tell your sister that I just won't partake in that. You watch my videos, I tell this all the time. I don't care who you're with, your uniform never changes. You know, your white sister-in-law, if she doesn't respect the blackness of your brother, or doesn't respect the blackness of your sister, or respect the blackness of you, why dump down who you are? That makes no sense at all. People respect how you feel. You're better off being honest with what you say, and you know, because you know how this goes. Well, you're not really the black. You just got a nice sprinkling of coated on you. I feel like a Paul Mooney episode. Someone said some mess like that. I said, well, look, we're going to settle this one way. I'm going to go to my room. You can stay in here. And then you can entertain yourself by yourself. Because you know what that shadow looks like? It's black, right? You ever notice the shadow is black? Well, that's what you're going to see. The black shadow of me. I'm not gonna entertain no shuffling. Bump that. Yeah. You talking about your sister, your older sister? Yeah, there people I've done videos about this. You know, people talk about pro-black and pro-this, but black folks have been their own worst enemy as far as accepting within our own context of who we are. In America and all over is the worst is the worst disease because it makes you feel psychologically inferior because you can't really talk about it, you can't really be about it, but you have to live it. You have to walk in that splat. You have to work in that circle. And that's the reason why I wouldn't deal with some folks, you know. See, and white folks don't never respect you like that. Never do. Um, that sellout coon that was running for president, yeah, you know what I'm talking about right now. Um, you know, and he always up there shuffling, and they don't respect him. And he had to come up with the girlfriend. No one asked all that, but Jim Scott, yeah. See, all that tap dancing is not good for your health. Not good for your feet, not good for your health. And it's not gonna be good for your wealth. Yeah, I know what you mean, because we got people in our family, you know, we always say, um, all kin folks ain't skin folks. So I was shuffling and bucking. I don't know where it comes from, you know. Um, I tell you like this world is too racist and too backwards. And they're not going to give you no extra dollar or pat on the head because you shuffling. They're going to clown you on the low because they going to look at you like they scared because they don't get a shotgun because they're going to wonder why are you such a shuffler. You never win that way. You never win that way, you know. And when they get their wake up call, they'll get their inward wake up call. They're going to come around to you and say, oh, we wish we had listened. Because this is how it goes. You're going to get that wake up call, you know. He did, but he really shouldn't even been charged. I mean, I don't know what case is more hokey, and I haven't done a video about it, but I don't know what's more hokey, his case of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s. I mean, I'm like, what did they do exactly to merit all that? But yeah, they stripped him clean. They basically don't want him nothing to do with him. They just stripped him clean. I still don't know what he really did to merit the half of that. I don't know. It's amazing how Jonathan Majors got to sit up in a courtroom for a woman kind of half fabricating some stuff and some stuff went down. But Dana White's over on ESPN, he slaps his woman. So you tell me. Or that crazy Conor McGregor's racist behind all steroid up, does stupid crazy stuff all the time. Dumb racist stuff, flipping stuff. And ain't nobody canceling him. And he's past the pool date as an MMA fighter too, by the way. Because after he fought Floyd, you know, that's been how long ago? I mean, come on now. Well, Cuba Gooding Jr. just did the OJ movie. But yeah, that was, I'm like, what assault? And he's a cornball, but what assault? Tiger now. They like Tiger. They like Tiger. They didn't even, this lawsuit didn't even stick with Tiger. There won't be no surviving Tiger because he got old white money with new money, you know. When they thought he may have been a threat on the golf course, he says, I'm just got a tan. They got him covered. He didn't make a lot of mistakes, but because he's a good one, they got money on him. Them white folks eat him up at them golf courses. So now I gotta take Tiger out that mix. He's scared. He's safe. As far as Kyrie goes, well, I was scared. They was out to take him out. McConnell, yeah, Connors is old. I don't really have one per se. You know, I watched them. Can't really say I have one, but it's just that I was amazed at how they still try to market him because I just thought, man, he's past the pool date. But you know, He's one of the few guys that still sells tickets that they got. That's old school. There's still some romanticized with Connor, so you know they'll find a way to make him last 5 more years in the sport that you're usually done by the time you're 30. If you handle your money the right way and all the pounding your butt took, you should be out by the time you're 30. So if you get about 10 decent fights, you should be done. So, but he's still a money mark there. But I don't have one for favorite. I'm not that invested with it like that. I watch, but I know the ones that sell the tickets though. Just like Rossi sold the tickets on the. But no, Tiger is fine. Tiger ain't like Cuba and Kyrie. Got beat up by the blonde, the lawsuit by the Lex chick who said all kind of stuff. But top 5 boxing matches all time. Oh yeah, now you talking my wheelhouse. Well, Ali Frazier, one of them. Ali Foreman's one of them. Jake LaMotta, Sugar Ray Robinson is one of them. Thomas Hitman Hearns, Marvin Hagler. That's 4 right there. And if I had to go 5, probably want to say was it that Jack London and Jack Johnson fight, because Jack Johnson had an old fight that I like. See, most of my fights cover different weight classes in time. But those are the fights that come to mind off the top. Honorable mention is Duran Leonard. First one, not the No Miles one. Leonard Hagler, even though that was suspect and janky. Also, middleweight fights are my favorite. Sugar Robinson was bad. You know, you can make a case pound for pound. He was bad. Pump right there. Sugar Robinson was a bad dude. He was a bad dude. He could hit. He was quick. And the cat had a perm and his hair stayed in place. That's a bad dude. Tore your behind up and he wasn't going to miss his do up. Dude was bad. Just like Floyd Patterson. I mean, some of those cats, you know, speed, quickness, delivery. Yeah, so those are the fights. I had to pick a Mike Tyson fight that I thought probably the first Holyfield one was interesting. When he won, it wasn't, you know, but he was strong, Hulk, and definitely did his thing. Yeah, I like all 3 of those guys. Hagler was a technician, pound your body, pound you. Underrated with his speed, good jab, quickness, loved him. Tyson was like must see TV. I remember when they used to have, if you were old enough to remember when they used to have cable lines to date the pay-per-view, Mike was the king of it. Cats would get their pockets took for a Tyson fight. I never went for that mess. But he was something else in his peak in his prime. He was brutal. Rough, rugged, take you out. Trying to think, who else fight? Yeah, well, Don takes advantage of everybody. If you don't know nothing, you know, ain't gonna give you nothing. Robin was an opportunist, ain't nothing new. Robin was paid off like by her mama, the pimp, just like Brooke Shields, just like Kardashian. Nothing. Robin was in on Brad Pitt too. You know, Robin learned the game, got up to Eddie Murphy. You know, no shock, no surprise. Don always was doing hustling, but that's how Don came out of prison and got out Ohio. You know, hustling. And when you learn some numbers and you learn how to move and talk, oh yeah, Gus D'Amato wasn't going to stand there and take mess from Tyson. He kept them focused. He kept them direct. You know, he knew he had a special talent there, but he also knew that he was volatile and reckless. So, but I give Tyson his due. He's still alive. He's taking care of himself, and he's still amongst us. So, he's definitely had angels blessing his soul, but he had to go through some stuff. He had to grow up. So, yeah. Ooh, another taste. But yeah. Hey, Gus was something else. Gus had a nice combo too. I saw footage of him. B Hop was bad. You know, one of those guys that from Philly, he was bad. Just you know, sometimes some cats get more romanticized and some people get kind of left behind. But make no mistake, B Hop was a bad dude. You know. Yeah, well, you know, if you fight that long, you know, and sometimes cats is fighting for a bag. They're not fighting because they actually think they can still get it. They're fighting for a bag because they need to get that, you know, get that bag. And it's a shame the finances get you in there. Don't you wish everybody had the luxury of Floyd Money Mayweather that they could kind of make a joke and stuff and fight who they want and get 50 million to fight the used car salesman with his suit on and a funny mustache and a tie? But yeah, I don't like to look at certain guys at the end of their careers because you are seeing guys that they're not fighting for the love no more. They're fighting because they got to pay something. So that's the sad reality. Yeah, you meant Julian Jackson. I remember that cat. And Tommy Morrison. If you saw Rocky, was it Rocky? Was it Rocky 5? Yeah. Morrison was a big white boy who could hit you in the body shots, but you know his depth wasn't as deep. But I remember that. I remember Julian Jackson. Mm-hmm. Well, you really went to the Wayback Machine now. I usually don't have too many people throw them names at me. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I remember. Definitely do. Definitely. So yeah. I forgot who. I remember Julian Jackson. It was a while back. Somebody fought. I forgot. The Morrison. Who was it that he fought? I forgot. Yeah, Riddick Bowe. They love Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe should have been in a made-for-TV movie about Ali. Because in '92, he articulated. He came across like a lazy-eyed version. He had this historian type of personality. And he still is around, but he didn't get to his apex. Got to be really to very good. Didn't get the full apex out of him. You know. So he came up short. He was tough and big, but he didn't quite get all of it out of him. Thought he was gonna be a lot better than he was though. And when Riddick Bowe kind of like Jonathan Majors' daddy or uncle, he had that vibe too. Next time you see Jonathan Majors, think about Riddick Bowe with the part in the hair. And tell me you can't see that. Riddick Bowe came across like somebody's old uncle. Like he was an old Negro spiritual. We're gonna do the Riddick Bowe. Oh, yeah. We're gonna do the Riddick Bowe. Oh, yeah. You could hear Riddick Bowe singing his own name in the chorus. By the time I get off the boat, I'm Riddick Bowe. They had hype for him. I remember Rolling Stone magazine had this big old spread. I mean, like I said, he had a throwback vibe and everything. But he just didn't get quite all of it out of him. But it was a funny time when I think about Riddick Bowe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they two of them. Shavers could hit you if he could take his punches. The only problem with guys like that is that they were one trick ponies in that if they couldn't knock your block off, you could take their punches. There were guys who could hit. Jack Johnson could hit. Um, Sonny Liston could hit. You know, Foreman pound you. You know, but yeah, when he used to hit you in your press city, everyone can throw a punch. I mean, he can take a punch. And he took Cat's best punches. He got shook a couple times, but you know, a lot of these guys had glass jaws and they had rubber knees. That's what happened. A lot of haymakers. So I would have to say I agree. I get them guys. Um, Frazier could throw some mean combos too. You know, so it all depends on what you're fighting. It all depends. All depends on what you're looking for in a fighter. Oh, oh, good. Now I gotta put my thing tight. Well, we talked about the Visa conference. I still say the Knicks in Chicago have some real intense games. Chicago, Indiana has some intense games. Houston, Phoenix games were crazy. Let me think. Seattle, Denver. That playoff game in '94 was crazy. What do I want to say? Oh yeah, Chicago, Phoenix in the finals was a crazy series because that game was at double, triple overtime in Chicago Stadium. That was crazy. That was a crazy game. That was a crazy game. I remember that. So I'm talking playoffs. Your Bulls Pacers in '98 Game 7 was crazy. Could go all the way. The Game 6 was crazy when Jordan had the Band-Aid. The '98 finals with the Bulls in Utah was a crazy game because Jordan pushed off of Byron Russell, what have you, but that game could have gone either way. It was always a couple plays, and it ended up better than it was. It was close games. Those Knicks, Miami, those games were crazy and wild. Oh, the days of 81 to 77. Oh, this was some crazy basketball. Crazy basketball. Crazy basketball. Crazy. Yeah, those are crazy. The Rockets Sun series was crazier than the Bulls Knicks because at least with that one, home court usually crazy. That was crazy. Early kissing and waving shots, and Sam Cassell, who should still have had a head coaching job by now. Well, because they won what I call a great team, but they got hot at the right time. They won game. Science took them out 4-0. And everything came, it's like the stars were aligned in '95. But yeah, they made a lot of difficult because, again, they weren't a great team. They got hot at the right time. And, of course, when they swept Orlando, Nick Anderson missing them free throws. Shaq and Elias trying to cancel each other out. Clyde Drexler was a difference maker. Penny wasn't ready for Clyde. Clyde was on a mission. So when you talk about the guard play of Houston, which was underrated, or hitting big shots, Cassell hitting big shots, Marielli hitting big shots, Nick Anderson not hitting big shots, Dennis Scott not coming up big. When they're not coming up big, on paper they were better, but reality, Houston's experience won. So sometimes you can't always go by what you perceive. That was the difference in their finals, and that's what made Houston so tough, battle tested. Because that's battle tested. Not necessarily a great team, but got the job done. They weren't better than Seattle, and they weren't going to beat Utah. Utah played Seattle '96. Barkley was there, but he was starting to fade. He knew his last 2 or 3 years in Houston, he was like just another dude who could have good, maybe a great night, but he wasn't going to be the dude that you saw in '93 no more. That dude in '94, '95 went down further down the abyss. So pretty much it was kind of slumping. And I don't know if he could have done anything for the Rockets then. I don't know at the right time had enough of a mixture. And so I just think that's what it was. 50 years. Obvious. Harold Miner, who's supposed to have been Baby Jordan, who pumped up his shoes and had a moment with Miami, and that was it. And it's kind of hard because 90s, um, it's hard to say because most of the cats that turned out great, you'd have to throw names, and I'd have to tell you whether I agree or not. It's kind of hard to say because some of them cats I didn't forgot all about. And one thing I will tell you like this, I don't really, unless the cat does like Adam Morrison and just fades out, just does a team photo. He was nice before he died. Shot that ball left-handed. I remember. This is what I'll tell you. There really are no busts because the guys get drafted by the wrong team, wrong situation, and the wrong head coach. And sometimes guys don't catch on. So it's hard to call a guy a bust. See, if he has a 10-year-plus-year career, he ain't no bust. Your method for what you consider a bust or not. Well, again, Joe Smith played 15 years, so how's that a bust? Now, if he played 15 games and was a scrub and he didn't last as long as, what's his butt that was drafted by the Portland Trailblazers. You know what I'm talking about. He looked like an old man. He was a shot blocker. Came on the OOs. I can't think his name, too. He had a full beard. He'd had him for 1 year, and he looked like LeBron's daddy. Can't think of that Turkish name. Bo Kimball, okay, I'll give you that. But Joe Smith, you can clown him, but he had a 12-year, 15-year career. That's not a bust. Yeah, there you. Thank you. Right on. I knew I was thinking about that old man. And it's funny. You sitting up being 35 at that time, and Greg Oden looked like he could be your uncle. Like he could be like your 20-year-old, 25 years later uncle with that beard, like he been drinking a 6-pack. Oh man, now that's the dude right there. His feet was too big. It was always something with him. Now see, there you go. Now, if you mention certain people, I'll say okay. But I again, in hindsight, Kwame was not no bust, and neither was Joe Smith. It's just the Kwame situation because he got associated with Michael Jordan, and plus they got caught up trying to play the youth game, and they didn't really have a place to fit him, and it didn't really work. And then he get traded for Gasol, but I don't want to tell nobody if you play all that time. He was, because I remember, because he's like an old man, and it was like, y'all did this again. 20 years ago, 40 years ago, y'all got hoodwinked by Sam Bowie. We didn't see that coming. Then you turn around and get Greg Oden. And Greg Oden, unlike Sam Bowie, was a one-trick pony because he could block shots. He was a defensive dude, and the Heat gave him a chance, but that was it. But he was just two left wheels. Well, no, they were in different clouds. Vin was a sellout brother. Vin got out there and got soft and mushy. But he had an all-star career a little bit. He had a little bit of a run. But Oden was pretty much it never was. So that's the difference. At least in Vin's case, he had something when he came on. Oden, they thought, and then that thing sunk like Titanic. So yeah. Brandon Roy don't get hurt. He would have been one of the greatest Blazers ever. He had the kind of mindset and the way he played. If Dame Lillard had to play like that, then Dame would have been more revered. Brandon Roy was the truth. He was the truth. He gave you a hard night, too. He was the truth. And that's a good call there. He's a guy who could have been a great, if been healthy, because I like the way he played. I like the way he went at it. So, good call there. Yeah, I mean, his mindset was, I think Dame was a better scorer because obviously you can't hate on a guy who can score 50, 60 points, However, his mindset was more cohesive. Dame was stat padding. Brandon Roy was the truth. Yeah, and LaMarcus could have stayed healthy. Could have been someone like a broke Duncan, broke Brad Daugherty type. Nice low post game. And had some moments where he went off, but he, I know he had problems with his personal, with his heart, and he just came up kind of short. And I think he definitely hurt Dame when he left, but, those are kind of guys, they were better together than apart because neither one of them by themselves is a threat. I know LaMarcus tried to come back with the Nets, and it was cute, but it wasn't in the cards. So, and I like Brandon Roy better, but I'm not gonna say that either. I'm not gonna say better because Dame could score, but if Brandon Roy stays healthy and focused and has the right cast around him, oh, he's that dude. Well, if you really watch my videos, you know what I tell you about the Lakers and LeBron. They're average. They got to make a trade or a move to become a legit team, not to get the church house horse sack race trophy, which I've done videos about. They're better in some ways, but then they're way behind in others. I think Darren Ham is buying time with the PR service. They need Anthony Davis to win, or they're going to be a first round casualty. They don't play no defense. Their bench is gutted, and they can get exposed and they can get whipped up on. So there's a lot of cause for concern with them. They 4 games over 500 for a team that got a mid-season trophy, which you know is fake and farce because they're not that good. They don't stand a chance against these young kids. They're not going to handle a chance against no Minnesota or OKC or none of them young teams. And they got upside, but they got to make a lot of trades. And LeBron's old now, so it's different. Same thing with Golden State. Sad part, Steph Curry could still ball. Sad part, Steph Curry got 2 or 3 years of top tier balling, but the sad part is he gonna wash away. The league caught up to Golden State. They too small now. Ironically, your next thought with Dwight, I thought that would have been a great fit for Golden State. That's all they need is a banger. Except you don't need a guy that says cough and act like a doctor to check your privates, but that's what they're missing. The ironic thing that got them going is what they're missing now is a low post presence. They don't have easy baskets, and after Steph, good luck out there. Clay is on the down. Wiggins just doesn't bring it every night. Their defense is lethargic, non-existent, and they're missing a piece. And they don't low post, and of course Draymond. I'm going to talk about that idiot because they should have got rid of him. So when I look at them, they had a great run. Yeah, Dwight would fit in good there because some chicks don't mind. It ain't like he gonna get in trouble for harassment. Think about it. I went there. Ain't gonna be no harassment. He's over there. They'll probably harass him. The problem with Zion is he's just not motivated. He's like a lot of these cats. The money's green, and they got endorsements, and it's like whatever. But he ain't lost nothing because he's got everything there. He doesn't have a coach or ownership that's pushing him. I like Brandon Ingram, but he's too inconsistent. He scores 41 days, scores 8 the next. And CJ McCollum got to be healthy. They gotta have somebody get in his behind. Tell him to put down the Duncan Hines and get in his cage. Leadership, anyone to tell you nothing. Guys gonna play like that. That's what you get. That should be a top tier team. They should be top 4 or 5 in the West. They should be a threat. He should be on his way closer to Charles and Shaq than to be closer to Blake Griffin. Because that's where he's going.
Charles, check it out.
Stupid girl.
That's not nice.
Stupid computer coming on. Anyway, that's live. I'm not faking the phone. Sometimes these computers be saying stupid stuff. I don't know who that voice is. Turn that mess off. But anyway, yeah, that's my thought about him. Yeah, he's more closer to Blake Griffin than he is to Charles and Shaq. That's what I got to say about Zion. And it's a shame too, because if he don't fool around and get on the ball, I have said some of these people on here, I said these foreign boys going to leave him behind. He's 23, but he's going to be an old 23 because it's all about Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, and Luka. Them 4 guys. And Zion on the food chain, he's behind Tatum, probably still behind Steph, Shea Alexander. So that's 7. And Edwards, that's 8. De'Aaron Fox, that's 9. So I'm just thinking off the dome. That's about 9 cats he's behind right there. So he better get on the ball. Yeah. Yeah. He wins a couple more rings and another league MVP and a couple more finals MVP, then he probably moves closer to top 5. He's that good. He's a robot. I have not seen another center in my lifetime that's like a robot for everything because he in tune, top of the key, in tune to setting you up in tune, and his numbers come to him. It's not like he's running at them. He literally will be a double-double by halftime, then the other part comes up. And because he's got a cold assist game, he creates. He's a beast. He's really freaky. And there is not another center that I'm seeing that's seeing that. And obviously, with triple doubles all the time, he's in his own world. He really is. Yeah, I did that. I had that discussion with Two Raw. I told Two Raw that I did a video about that, especially the not even with Matumbo. Put him with my dude Raul. Because as great as Jamal Murray can be, Mahmoud, who was like a precursor to Steph Curry, with the outside pick and pop, are you crazy? Are you crazy with that? And in the 80s with Alex English and T.R. Dunn, with them way them guys who's coming from screens, the way the Nuggets could score 40 years ago, because I still remember that game against Detroit when they went 184, 183, and that's when Dan Issa and all that. You put him with those offenses, oh boy. With his skill set, he'll be looking like Wilt Chamberlain. I kid you not. We'll be talking about 45, 50 points, 10, 15 assists, and close to 20 boards, and a couple steals, and a couple blocks for good measure. And since he can shoot free throws and he don't get a lot of foul trouble, he gets thrown out of games with him and say, oh, he'd be scary. If we talking from the triangle, you nailed something there. He would be a scary fit, Tex Winter, Phil Jackson triangle. He'd be scary. His ball handling skills at the top of the key with Jordan Pippen and the way they could play without the rock, that's what made Michael Jordan great to me. I never really talk about it much, but I will share it with you. The way he played without the ball. He did what Klay Thompson gets great rewarded for because Klay don't take many dribbles. Well, Jordan played without the ball, so he go around the circle in the triangle and pick his spot and then post up, dribble, and make that move. So, yeah, with the triangle with Scotty, oh, man, that would have been scary. The only problem that Jokic runs into is that Patrick Ewing try to beat him up and get physical with him. But his handling skills and to see him against a young Shaq would have been real compelling. That would have been interesting. Because Jokic is 2 to 3 times better a player than Rick Smits, who was a 17-8 dude. So it'd have been real interesting what Jokic could do back then. That's a good one. I could see that. But him and Mutombo, I like what he's got with what he's got. I'm telling you, Michael Porter gets the Klay Thompson in him and can get a consistent knockdown shot, and Aaron Gordon holds his end up. That's a deadly front. Because that's the only thing they're missing is consistency out of Michael Porter and getting Aaron Gordon. Yeah, because Jokic was a better version of Vlade Divac. Good call, because Vlade could pass. Vlade was a good passer. 12 to 15 points and 6, 7 boards and a few. Yeah, you put Jokic with Magic. Magic would have fought to stay in the league with a guy like that. Because Jokic's offensive skill set is ridiculous. I mean, you look at him as Mr. Potato Head, but he will wear you out. Ask Anthony Davis, because he out Anthony Davis. He busts that 3. AD can't do nothing with it. He take him to the hole. He tires him out. He tries to pancake him. He can't lure him to sleep. Jokic's got something for that butt. That's a bad boy. And yeah, you could put him with a lot of them teams and he'd look scary. I think he could definitely fit in back. I'm gonna have to do, thank you. Two Raw does it. I'm gonna do it for my own videos. If I took Jokic back in the 90s, how he would have fared. especially if you put him in certain situations. Because he would have been a good replacement for Rick Smith in Indiana. Been good on that Bulls team, good on that Lakers team. Would have been an interesting battle with him against a young Shaquille O'Neal. Wonder how he goes up against the Knicks. That's some good ones. That's some good ones. You got me thinking. Got me thinking. Good job on that one, man. Appreciate that. Jordan. I want to say probably Karl Malone. I can't give Kid the edge in the 90s. I like Kid, but that took a while for him to fit. I'd probably put Gary Payton on, if I'm honest. For me, probably Gary. Barkley, Jordan, I'll give you those three. So I have Gary Payton, Jordan, Barkley. Or Karl Malone. I might have Karl. I'll say, yeah, Gary. Hakeem or Shaq. Hakeem, Shaq, or Dave Robinson. I could take either one of those three. They were all great. You know, couldn't go wrong with that. So I might give Hakeem a slight. It's close. It's close. Because it was those guys were in that argument. I like Rice. I'm kind of wrestling with that though. I gotta think of somebody else would come to mind, but I'd have Gary, Jordan, Karl Malone. Oh, Iverson. T-Mac. I'm gonna get back to Mullen in just a second. And I can make a case for T-Mac, or I can make a case for Vince Carter. But as long as I got Shaq Duncan, I say Shaq Duncan, Jason Kidd, Allen Iverson, and I can either go Kobe, Vince Carter, T-Mac. That early O's. We're talking early O's. So you get a pencil, whichever you're talking about. If we talking about mid O's, I give Dwayne Wade some love. Or T-Mac, it all depends. But Shaq Duncan for sure. Because to me, they were hitting shows above everybody else. Vince Carter was must-see TV at the start. Allen Iverson was definitely in the conversation. So then we can debate after that. Mullins he could dribble, he could score. But I was never blown away by him. I wasn't in love with him like he was some second coming to Larry Bird. But he had a nice game. I think you had to appreciate him more in Golden State. When he got in Indiana, he was more business, and he was a different player. Good, very good, but not like this, not like that dude. 1980s? Magic Bird, Kareem, Dr. J. And I got to throw Moses Malone, and I don't care how you position it. You got to have those guys. So you got to give me Kareem, Moses, Dr. J, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson. Honorable mention to Isaiah Thomas. Who else do I want honorable? Personal honorable mention, though he didn't make it long enough for his career, because I was a big fan of his. Andrew Toney. That was one of my favorites. He just got hurt. It's almost like saying Michael Ray Richardson, but in a different way. And who else did I like back then? Bernard King, Dominique Wilkins. Those are honorables. They're honorable. I got to throw some honorable cats because that was deep. All time? Pat Riley, because that philosophy, that style, I don't like him personally with his certain ways he do. Phil, of course. Popovich, Red Auerbach. I'm gonna go after the known brands. Those guys come to mind off the top. Um, had a lot of respect for Casey Jones. You never hear no one talk about him with the Celtics, but he won those 2 rings with the Celtics. He was bad. Chuck Daly was a great coach. Dr. Jack Ramsey. Least favorite NBA coach all time? Stan Van Gundy, because how you blow it with Shaq and Dwight Howard, I just don't know it. He messed up. I don't quite get the hype with Frank Vogel. Great defensive minded coach, but something's missing there. Bernie Bickerstaff, I never got how he kept getting jobs. That one was hilarious. I like Doc in spurts, but he fast become one of the most overrated. Yeah, he did. Listen, I was such a big Duncan fan. It was only because I dug Shaq more, but don't get it twisted. Duncan was right there for me. I knew how great he was. I would defend Tim Duncan. And if I would have a chance to coach Tim Duncan, if he wanted to fly on top of the airplane, I let him fly on top. You got to be a crackhead. Well, now you see how Doc's career turned out as a coach. You see what's up? Duncan didn't blow many things. He didn't blow that finals either. He made him less pressure. I don't say he made him better, but less pressure because he, at that stage, Robinson, when you play with a guy like David Robinson, you got to keep yourself in shape, timing, very athletic, very mobile, on the ball, off the ball. Yeah, he was underrated. In another era, you could appreciate him. You can't appreciate him today because he wasn't asked to score but 6-7 points a game and get assists and hustle plays. But if you grew up in a certain type of NBA, you appreciate him. If you're Robinson around because he was, again, those trees were no joke. They played defense. I remember that finals against the Nets. Robinson was blocking everything in sight. Kenyon Martin wasn't getting no previews. So don't get it twisted. Them trees beat the Knicks too when Allen Houston and Latrell without Ewing. And that defense, they play good, crisp defense. Darren Robinson's underrated shot blocker. Sean Elliott, that shot on the hit that one on that one leg, he came up big. He had finally got his attitude right too, because in Portland he was a little bit wild and got to the Spurs. He was a great fit. And if you guys was gonna come to you, they play defense, they play ball, they hit the intricacies. So there you go. Yeah, he just came around the wrong time. And I remember when he left Detroit, came to New York, and they clowned him for that big deal. But hey, he had the last laugh. He got to the finals. He was a true sidekick. Yeah, he'll be considered like a broke Scotty, but he was a true sidekick. Him and Latrell were nice together. I like this game. And he could shoot, but they were just too light in the cakes against the Spurs in the finals. That's all. If they played today, they might have won our chip. Oh yeah, Charlie Ward was the truth. And the NFL racist NFL didn't give that man the job to shut up. And Spree was coming at it. I remember, my people don't talk about it. Allen Iverson did an interview in Slam Magazine. I remember when Slam Magazine was like the way the Source used to be. It was the real basketball and Scoop Jack. When they were real black in Slam. He had an interview, and he said, I don't want Michael Jordan's game. I want Spree's game. That's what Allen Iverson said. Spree was the hood cat out in the bay. Well, he was from Florida State, and he ran. Well, at the time, they didn't want mobilized black quarterbacks. And we speak your mind. You know how that go. You know how that go. You know how that go. You got to be a square. And you got to know how to play the game. But he would have been he was very detailed. It's just they didn't want him. That's legalized, systematic, institutionalized racism. That's what I talk about in my videos and when I talk about the NFL plantation, all them plantations. I don't think he's too black to be a coach in the NFL. I think he's got the same disease and problem that a lot of great coaches, great players have. They can't tolerate insubordination. They can't tolerate mediocrity out of great talent. And when you've seen a guy like that, you were blessed to see how great he was and dedicated. He can't tolerate the foolishness. He caught a whiff of it in college level with Colorado. This was considered the big time in more in a white college way. He wouldn't go to the NFL. He wouldn't last because he said he couldn't coach men that get paid more than him and have to tell him what to do fundamentally. So that's why. He's a brother, but that's not what the problem would be with him being an NFL coach. It's just that he was too great of a player. And guys like that don't usually translate into great coaches because they're not going to tolerate their foolishness. And he's tuning you out. That's the problem that Belichick is facing. There's a generational pushback. Pop did too. Well, guys come along, now, but if you work with the secondary, he's not what Josh Allen would need. Josh Allen would need I told Jim Call, Bruce Arians, if he wanted to coach. That's the kind of coach. What he got in Brady's behind, yeah. You gotta do it, but you gotta know how to coach ego. But you can't be afraid of your quarterback. You can't be afraid of, too much politicking. No, but I do think he should be a head coach in the NFL. I think Deion Sanders in Minnesota would be scary. I hate to tell you that, Green Bay, but yeah, he would be. I'll give you that. He'd be just the right coach for that ego. The only problem is can Harbaugh finish? So the jury's out of Michigan finishes up this bowl, but that's the kind of ego you need. You got to have ego. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But Deion to Minnesota? Mm-hmm. Maybe to the Chargers, too, in a wild way. Because I like to see a black coach get opportunity on an explosive offense or a team that's not that, So, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd say the Chargers, the Vikings for Deion. Harbaugh to the Bills makes all the sense in the world. Or to the Chargers. He goes to a team that has a quarterback that's in place. That's it. You don't want to be no coach coming in the league and you have to coach up a third-tier quarterback or clipboard holder. Nobody's going to do good in that job. Maybe if you come in as a rookie with a youngster, that's one thing. You do like Houston did or something. But if you coming in and you got to start from ground zero with a team that's just been garbage. Yeah, well, you got to remember, that's only been the last 10, 15 years. The black quarterback is still like a fresh face in the sea. And then they do that in the NFL plantation. They do one thing right and they do the other thing wrong. So they still lacking head coaches, general managers, and owners. They just now saying that blacks can lead at quarterback. And that's because the linemen can't catch what they got. So that's all that is. So black quarterbacks would have been great no matter what era, if given the opportunity. Much as I hold Patrick Mahomes one of the 3 greatest quarterbacks ever right now, if you would have put him in there, so where you rank him, top 3, 4 ever. However, do I believe he would have been, had we been playing all things fairly with that? No. As great as Brady is and Joe Montana is, and some of those guys, there were some black guys who got shafted. Would have been very interesting, have all things being equal. Their brothers had to chair. Because see, 35 years ago, I saw a guy like Randall Cunningham. Now, he wasn't, I don't think mentally as complete as Mahomes, but he was bad. Top 5 black quarterbacks all time? Warren Moon, because that dude came in '84, and it was in percentages in the same class with Montana and Marino. And that's when he was 5-6 years past his age. That's scary. I want to give an honorable mention to Broadway Joe Gilliam, because he was better than Terry Bradshaw on his best day. That's honorable, and James Harris too. Honorable mentions to those guys. But Warren Moon, Doug Williams, who's vastly underrated, came up big, was big time. Not just a Super Bowl, but he was a champion. That's a bad dude. He's never got his due. Randall Cunningham, he was freaky for his time. The MVP, he was bad. Michael Vick, do I have to say anymore? He was the first dude that I saw, and of course you got to say Mahomes, because again, he's a brother. Honorable mention to Cap. Cap gets honorable mention. He was bad. Russell, honorable mention. Steve McNair, honorable mention. And sad one is Deshaun Watson. Should be. Skill set. And don't forget about Lamar Jackson. Honorable. Because Lamar is the one guy who might could crack the top 5 if he gets a Super Bowl chip. We know how bad he can be. So I'd say Mahomes, Moon. I'm going to change my list up. Mahomes, Moon, Cunningham, Vic, and I'm going to say Lamar. And all your honorable mention to Cam Newton. Cam's got to get in there somewhere too. Cam's top 10 for sure. I know you're a Ohio State fan. I'm going to give you that. C.J. Stroud, he balling, just got hurt. But yeah, he looked good. He looked good. He looked good. He looked good. We'll see. He looked good. I like their coach. I like the way they come about. So they look good. I like the black quarterbacks because it's tough. Because it's like, I'm like, do I put Cam in there too? And Vic? You know, and it shows you. But there was a time you could have named 5 or 6 off the top. And then, like I said, a lot of it is just because in the last few years, the last 12 years, you got something to pick with Russell coming on, you know. And Mahomes definitely flipped the script on Lamar. But think about it, it ain't been that long ago. He was good. He was done off before he had a chance to maintain. I like McNabb, but I don't put him in my top 10. He didn't get enough out of him in Philly for he'd have gone to another Super Bowl or 2 or 1-1. Yeah. Had he matched the energy of Terrell Owens? Yeah. Dante was nice, but again, they're in that really good to very good. But when you ask me in my top 5, I'm looking. I can't put in. I got Jalen Hurts over both of them right now. Because Jalen Hurts wins games, and he's clutch. And I'm not, even though I know Brown, the receiver's bad, something about Jalen Hurts is special. Yeah, he was good. He was good. He was an all-purpose guy. He was ran like Charlie Ward would have been if he came to the NFL. The thing that I loathe how they used to do black quarterbacks because they want you to run and receive and slash and all that. They don't do that to them white boys unless you happen to be whatchamacallit from Florida. Gonna play with the Broncos. I'm not thinking right now, but you know what I'm talking about. That's the one because he had to do special teams to keep a job with the Jets and the Patriots after he played with the Broncos. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I didn't like how they did that to black quarterbacks though with Cordell. We don't talk about Seneca. He was in Tebow. There you go. That's the only white boy that they turned into a brother because he couldn't really quarterback. So they made him do punt, pass, and return. Sometimes I got lost because I was trying to think about Tebow and all that, but making my point, that's the downside with Cordell. And Cordell beat Michigan with a bomb. I remember in college, but he got to NFL, they want him to slash and dash. And Yeah, Seneca had one okay game. He played for Seattle. Oh, the boy from LSU. He's nice. I like the cat from LSU and I like the Huskies quarterback, but I don't really know because I'm gonna tell you something. And of course, Caleb with SC, but it's hard to say because when you ask me that, right? Did you see? Did you see? Did you see C.J. Stroud being that guy? I mean, see, so I really can't say who's the best coming out. I mean, they look good, but you got to remember where they're playing, and then you got to remember who they get drafted by and what emerges. Can't say. Now I knew that Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson were beasting when I saw them, and I knew that Deshaun Watson was bad. But again, I can't say because guys come to the NFL, depends on who they get drafted by, the coach, the system. Can't say. It's not fair. I have to plead the fifth on that. I see what I like, but that don't mean they're gonna turn into that dude. But sometimes you come to the field, you got growing pains. I still remember when John Elway came in the league and he was lining up on the wrong center for the hike, and Peyton Manning struggled. No one saw Brady as Brady. No one saw Russell Wilson as Wilson. No one saw Kaepernick doing what he did. Cam, it took a little while. The Mahomes thing was like mind blowing. So yeah, well, y'all started getting top tier quarterbacks the past few years, but that wasn't always your MO. But I ain't mad though. As long as my Wolverines beat y'all behind, I don't care what y'all got back there. But I do feel bad for y'all though. One loss, and they gonna put y'all in the egg avocado bowl or something. I mean, y'all know good well that they should be an 18 playoffs for sure. Y'all don't belong in the avocado bowl, but I'm even as a Michigan fan, I'm not sold on this year's Michigan, Washington, Bama, Texas. I'm not. There should be 18 playoff eights. He should be, because you got standards. If you even know booty bandit Urban Meyer had standards, he sucked in the NFL and he was always macking, but he got the job done. And they ain't gonna tolerate you just being one loss. Dude, they expect you, just like old boy in Penn State, Franklin. Your record's cute, but you gotta win against a legit team. You beat up, pounding up on Xfinity, AEW, and W, and then you get your butt handed to you by Ohio State or Michigan. That ain't gonna fly. He'll get his butt up out of there too. So, but yeah, Tebow was the only white cat, and usually if a white dude gets caught having to do all that, he ain't gonna last long. But that's how the brothers stick around in the NFL. They used to. So I'm gonna kick it in about 4 minutes. I gotta make a long call. I get in touch with some fam. I got about 4 minutes. But yeah, it's been great rapping and chopping it up. Had a great day. Catch some of this action that's going on, and hope everything is all right. Okay, so my top 5 all-time college quarterback. Joe Montana, because I always remember that Notre Dame, he came up big. Probably tell you Jim Plunkett. He was bad in college. Because I used to watch college football, especially highlights and stuff. Cats were bad. Cam, he was a beast in college. What else would I say? See, I'm always torn between Charlie Ward and Turner Gill. Turner Gill was bad in Nebraska. A lot of people didn't get to see that. And Charlie Ward was bad too. And I like David Carr. So those guys come to mind. Those guys come to mind. Those guys come to mind. Um, who else did I want to say in college quarterbacks? Mm, um, Ryan Leaf was bad too. You know, and that's the other thing I hate coming Drew Bledsoe too. There's a lot of guys. College running back? Oh man, it's gonna start with OJ. OJ was a beast in college. And then Archie Griffin, only got a 2-time Heisman Trophy, was bad. The Tyler Rose, Earl Campbell was a beast. Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders, that's a hard, somewhere in between those guys were bad. Tony Dorsett was bad in college. Charles White was bad. Marcus Allen. So, and a lot of the cats on the West Coast moved me a lot more. Bo Jackson was bad in Auburn too. So, there you go. That depends on the era and where they played, but there was a lot of cats. Oh yeah, Herschel Walker. Now, even though he's a tap dancing giant, he's the only college running back I saw that could have came to. Yeah, he was a special freak. Don't get it twisted. Herschel Walker. As great as those other guys were in their dominance, Herschel was on another level. Rock solid. That's it. Yeah. So yeah. College quarterbacks, I think I went over quite a few of them. I wanted to see if Vinny Testaverde was nice in college too, because all them Hurricane cats were bad. You know, I hate talking about college quarterbacks because a lot of them came to the NFL and they sucked. You know, some of them guys were like incredible in college, but they got to the pros. It was a wrap. It was a wrap. But anyway, yeah, I think I covered that. So, but that's a great topic. I appreciate you asking me about, because I usually don't get asked that. And I had to sit there and think, and I had to rewind my clock. But yeah, believe it or not, as great as OJ and Earl Campbell, Dorsett, Thomas, Barry Sanders, Marcus Allen, Charles White, and I'm just naming something. There's some others I would say that were bad, but Herschel Walker was pro-ready. As great as Eric Dickerson and Craig James were in college, Herschel Walker was pro-ready. Yeah, he in Georgia. That's when Georgia, before they had this last run, he was a freak 40 plus years ago. He was a freak. He was a man amongst boys. You know, that's the Herschel Walker I choose to remember, not that cornball politician with the toy badge, got him to Toys R Us and had the toy cop. But that guy. So, yeah, so I hope that answered for you. Because actually, if I had to pick one guy like that, he was that dude. He was a freak. People forget about how filthy he was as a talent. He was. Anyway, I'm gonna close it out. It was great chopping it up. Appreciate you coming through. Great questions as always. Always love doing this. Looking forward to it again. Prayers and thoughts with you. And appreciate it. Anybody had questions? Hope I answered them. Glad to have you as always. Until next time we catch you. Next time. Peace. Have a great week. Stay safe. Be careful. Out.